stitches. We had another one get hit in the head with 2x4. You know, but that's the minority. I mean, it really is. It's a few
You guys
that
did
come out
pepper
there.
spray. You did pepper spray a few people, though. I know that. I saw
No,
the
there was a
effect.
couple that got pepper sprayed, but that was because of, again, throwing rocks and stuff. I mean, shoot, it's better than the alternative.
I did see one guy get pepper sprayed by an undercover cop who wasn't throwing rocks. I don't know if that was you guys. I have no idea.
Yeah,
who it
well,
was.
we did have DPS, county, and a bunch of constables with us.
But that I thought was wrong.
Mr. Griffith, can I say something? So I'm a journalist. I work for 90.1 KPFT. I write for a few different websites. I was arrested on Tuesday by your officers when they were using, the Kettling tactic that more and more people are asking whether or not it's safe.
The tactic?
Surrounding us, boxing us in, and then you guys, they had some sort of maneuver rushing in very violently, grabbing people while the other officers protect them, and then sucking people back into. I'm sure you're familiar with what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So that situation completely escalated everything. We were basically all boxed in. I was there documenting. It was about a group of 50 people. We were completely surrounded with people with batons and guns. I mean, we were obviously, on the defense side there. But most of the people there that I saw, that I was in this particular group, were not anybody throwing anything.
Right.
But we were told it was an unlawful assembly, and so we were all being arrested. And even beyond that whole issue, the way that the officers carried it out, at least for about the first 15 or 20 people, was violently rushing in, grabbing people, swinging them back. I got thrown to the ground, got pushed around.
And then
when you guys finished, then you finally said, okay, one of the female officers came in and basically said, okay, guys, we'll let you voluntarily, go come with us. You're being arrested. But I mean, that completely escalated everything. Got people all hyped up, and other people that were away started throwing things at you guys after that because of the escalation of the things.
Well, again, that's a command decision. It's outside of my pay grade. I mean, I'm just a police officer. I don't get to make those decisions. I know that is a tactic that's used across the nation. When you have issues with certain, the commander will pick out the people in the crowd who are agitators, I guess you'd say. And then they make, to protect it, they grab the person one at a time instead of trying to rush in and get it.
Yeah, but he's saying you escalated it by grabbing people.
Well, like I said, that's above my
maybe not
you.
you
have the power to make statements against tactics like that.
Sure, exactly. I mean,
I've seen
you could put
letters before about unconstitutional.
I have a
action.
4
That just
hour.
seems like you're rallying a bunch of people together in response to people throwing things, not necessarily them being in the street. Because y'all were in the street, everyone else was in the street. If you look at their offenses, it says that they were.
It was obstructing
a
highway, a passageway.
When there's,
we're on the sidewalk and we got kettled in there.
That's coming from that right there is coming from the DA's office, because we call them and say, okay, this is what you do. Well, this is the deal. Do they ask you to leave the street? Because there is a law against you being in the street. If they ask you to leave,
there's a law against being in the street,
peacefully
but it's somewhat arbitrary.
outside the blocking traffic.
They were arresting
But they
people
were
on the
also
sidewalk
pushing
too.
people
though.
off
Now
Yeah, I was arrested on the sidewalk.
They were.
There's plenty of footage of that.
I have a 4-hour live stream with all this. I mean, I'm going to use it when I go to court because they gave me this obstructing passageway, whatever.
That's not like isolated incidents. That's like widespread.
Again, that's a command decision.
Well, so what we're saying though is you are the VP though of the police union, and a statement from you guys goes a long way.
I'm going to support what they have to do to take care of the mass majority of people. Okay? We have to keep it under control. We have to keep it peaceful. And when that turns, then we have to deal with it.
But do you think the approach of militarizing cops into an already peaceful situation? Because I was there, and I
it wasn't
witnessed
peaceful at that time.
Well, we can debate about that.
we can.
Could I ask you a
That's just
question?
it. We can debate.
I think
and people. That's just it. That's just it. People today. People today can't get past this belief that just because we have a different opinion, don't mean we can't get along.
But it's more.
And that's my problem. That's my problem. We should be able to have an open dialogue.
I agree with you.
And even at the end of the day, if we agree to disagree.
But the big difference is you have a job that you have immunity. If one of us kills somebody or beats somebody up, we're going to get locked up. You guys can get away with it. I mean, that's the big difference between, we're human to human, but your job apparently gives you extra rights.
The last 6 shootings we had, everybody goes, oh my God, there were 6 shootings. Yes. How many of those guys were armed? All of them. I mean, what do y'all want me to do?
No, not the guy with the
Nicholas Chavez had a small piece of rebar. He was on his knees with his hands up.
No, you haven't seen the video.
I have seen the video. The neighbor released a video with him on his knees.
From 50 feet away. You watched the body cam.
Whatever he had in his hand, his hands were up when your officers shot him. I'm just saying, he was on his knees.
No,
he was clearly on his knees.
He may have been on his knees, but that doesn't mean he didn't have a weapon.
With his hands up in the air.
Okay, did y'all watch the press conference today with Acevedo and the wife of that officer, that gentleman?
We've been here. I haven't seen it today.
I understand. Watch that video. She does not want the body camera released because she knows what's on.
Okay, but can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Would you support making the chokehold illegal?
Okay, you know
in
we've
the
never
city
had
of
it.
Houston?
We've never had that. We've never been trained on that. It's always been illegal here.
So keep in mind when it does happen here.
That's right.
Okay, so you're
Hey,
telling
that's
us
it.
right now
So-
that
I'm
the
telling you
police
right
of
now.
Houston never do chokeholds.
We have never done that.
So
That
if there's
is never anything trained, and there's in policy.
So we can come to you if it does happen.
Yep.
So the police union will put out a statement saying that was not official. If we have evidence of
We
video,
already did. If you watched the interview yesterday with Joe Gamaldi,
Okay.
he said we've never been allowed.
What
to
about
do that
knees?
here.
What about knees on the back of the neck and the back?
That is
up here?
that is not a tactic that we train.
Okay.
That is
I've
not a
definitely
tactic
seen
that we
officers
train.
put their knees down on people when they're holding them down, for sure.
One other
Then-
topic I
then
wanna-
y'all are welcome. This is the deal. Y'all have the ability now to complain easier than ever before. You could go through LULAC, you could go through NAACP, you can do it online.
But we're not looking for
you
more
can do it-
bureaucracy, man. We're
Well,
we're
it's
looking
not
to. This is what we want. Is
This
like
is
to talk to somebody who has some power.
You came out here to talk.
Yeah. So
Yes,
you
sir.
act. They're just sitting there staring at us. At least you came out here.
That's
I'll
You
talk
know.
to anybody.
That's
That's
cool.
cool.
Show to
Do you
them.
have
Y'all
an
gonna
opinion on
justify
the
the
Tuttle
later afterwards.
Yeah, what about the
Tuttle
Tuttle
case?
case?
Show
Okay,
to them.
and I
mean,
do
we
have an
asked
opinion
them,
about
all
that.
of
We'd like
them,
to
they
hear
wanted
Because
come out, like, not
one,
of them
I believe
out.
Gerald Goins was completely wrong. No doubt about it. Obviously, he was dirty. Did not know that, and I actually worked with him for years and years and years. No clue. His supervisors had no clue.
That's crazy though.
We're
So when we're talking about weeding out the bad apples, like, are they
Didn't
really
he?
that
Wasn't there
secretive?
90 other cases? Of
Yeah.
him?
Oh, he's got
Oh, I'm
thousands of
telling you,
cases under
there's-
review.
Yeah, there's literally
So how is the
probably
system
600-800
like-
cases that they have to dismiss because of him.
So
What would you
would you
think
be in
would be
favor
a-
of getting rid of no-knock raids in Houston? Would you be in favor of banning the no-knock
Yeah,
raids?
I don't think it's
Honestly,
enough to be
I
up
don't
to the
care
chief.
about no-knock rates.
So
Well, yes,
you would be in favor of getting
Well,
rid
we
of it.
care
You're
about it 'cause
okay.
they're shooting up our neighborhood.
No, wait. I
Yeah,
want to
no,
get you on the
Tuttle's right down
Wait,
the
wait.
street.
First of all,
The
the
Tuttle's
Tuttles
right
had
down the
issues.
street.
Don't act like they're just completely.
What are the issues? What are the issues?
They had a
What
very
are,
small
hold on.
amount of
What are the issues?
Very small.
Let him
amount of
answer.
marijuana. Okay, very small.
I want because I've talked to the neighbors. What are the issues
No
you're talking
heroin
about?
in that house.
They had-
Well, we don't know that. We haven't
Oh,
seen
they
a
had a
report
big
yet.
fucking issue when the police.
There's a lot more to that story.
Yeah, and there's no way that Jared
first of all, hey,
Goins acted
I'm gonna
alone.
give you another one.
You're
I'm gonna
against
give you
it.
another one.
You're against it.
It is. I mean, there's a time and place for those.
But
it really is.
Would you
And that's
be
why I
okay
think our
if we
department's
didn't do
done-
any more no-knock raids at all in Houston?
Again,
They're not
it
willing to
depends
let
on
go of
situation.
them. No, they're not.
It depends on the situation. 'Cause
Look,
there's
Breonna
some
Taylor
things
just
that
died from a no-knock raid in Kentucky. This people, like, if you
that's
look
not
up the
here.
statistics, it doesn't matter. If you look up the statistics of no-knock raids, people die more often than others. You guys are coming into people's house unannounced, not dressed in cop uniform. I mean, people are going to shoot back, and they should if somebody's invading their home.
Full uniform when they went in out of that house.
Unannounced. But what are you going to do if somebody bursts into your house and you notice somebody's got guns on them?
Well, that's just it. Let me ask you
The
this.
shot was fired from outside the home.
Yeah, in the Tuttle's case, the officer fired before. The family hired their own the family hired their own forensic investigator and found that, and the bullet holes were from outside. It's clear that the officers. I'm just saying, we've been reporting on this case for over a year. We know
But
the
you're
details,
also,
man.
You're also going off somebody that is not a trained professional.
For us, then?
As a private forensic investigator,
the private forensic
he has
investigator
30 years worth of experience in that field. He's been in all.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, then how are you saying you don't know he has any
I know most of
experience?
them.
Because the forensic investigator isn't hired by a city doesn't mean he's not
So let's just
professional.
talk.
The person is trained. They're
I am in disagreement of the way the city does our investigations now from a forensic standpoint.
Why is that?
In what way?
We have no control over that. It's a forensic, and I'm telling you right now, I am not comfortable with the way they do it.
Well,
Look at all the
what
stuff.
particular
Look at all
thing
the
you're not
stuff that they
comfortable
left
with?
there. Look
I
at
mean,
all the
I'm
stuff that they
curious.
left.
Okay.
They are not controlled by the police department whatsoever. So that's why that is an issue with it.
Yeah, but
Because-
shouldn't there be some independence in the forensic? Because
No,
it was
I-
controlled by the police department
I
completely,
agree.
then they would
But
go
this
the
is the
other
deal.
way.
They didn't collect everything, did they? Why not? If there would have been an officer on that scene that knows what evidence and go, okay, that should be collected, that should be collected, that should be collected.
Are you talking about the Tuttle's case?
Yes.
Well, your chief was there within 15 minutes, he says, so, I mean,
He also left and went to the hospital.
what did he do? I mean,
We did have.
it's hard for us to believe, I want you to understand, it's hard for us to believe that corruption is isolated to one officer and that nobody else knew.
There has to be a web of officers.
Well, yeah, there
It
was
can't just be that one
There
guy.
have been a lot of statements on that.
I mean, one guy can't
I
work
haven't
alone.
seen any. I haven't seen
Then we
any
must have been working with a
actually
few other people.
specifically taking back. The
Historically,
statement
come
calling
on.
them dirty.
Look at the
I know,
Rampart in
no,
LA.
I completely understand where you're coming from. I do. But I'm telling you right now, I've been doing this job. I'll be 30 years in November.
Fair enough.
Okay? I will never agree with anybody that's going to disrespect the badge that I work my ass off to get. I come from a low-end neighborhood on the East End that right now you go over there and you wouldn't be like, how'd you make it out of here? But it's because I had a passion. It's something I wanted to do. I want to make a difference. And I worked Sunnyside South Park my entire career.
You became a cop for seemingly the right reason.
I love it. And I'm going to tell you right now, 99% of our officers are the same way.
Yeah,
They're just
1%.
That 1%. But just like
that
every
1% can do a lot of freaking damage.
It seems to be a bit more than 1%. It seems to be a bit more than 1%, sir.
And I think it might be higher than 1%.
Mr. Griffith, look, I talked to some of your officers when I got arrested on Tuesday and had conversations like this. And yeah, and my aunt used to be an HPD in the 90s. She served in sex crimes unit. And
what's your name?
Shannon Broze.
I think I know her because I worked Southeast and they were stationed.
She was
out
married
Southeast.
to an officer for a while, Bob something or other. I can't remember. Anyways, the thing is, I was asking the officers in there because everybody has a story like you, maybe not all of them, but the cops who say, hey, I'm in this because I'm a good guy and I joined for this, I came from this place. And I'm not trying to downplay your story or take you down a notch or anything. What I want you to think about, though, in a very human way, and this is what I talked to another officer. He was a black fellow, said he's a detective for 25 years. And, he said, hey, I don't think, what happened in the Minnesota case was right. I have questions about this and that.
I have issues
right?
with it, yeah.
And at the end of the day, what I told him, though, is what would you do? How would you respond? I don't know if you're out on the street or what, but how would you respond if the order comes down to fire on protesters, to fire on people who are expressing their freedom of speech?
You're talking about like tear gas, or you're talking about?
I'm talking about rubber bullets. I mean, even the rubber bullets are just metal bullets encased in rubber that take out people's eyes. I mean, and sometimes those are, as far as I know, are supposed to be fired at the ground and bounced, not directly at people.
Peaceful protesters, you're never going to have.
But
it's not going to happen.
The question is like the thing
I'm just saying the people in general.
Let me ask you this:
Are you willing to kill somebody over property damage?
Dorn that was killed over there in
L.A.
That poor guy was just doing. He was doing security. He's not even a police officer anymore. He's retired. You got that type of action going on. Yeah, you're gonna have to do what you gotta do. If you gotta use rubber bullets, you gotta use rubber bullets.
They burned him alive, though. I mean, you think that was necessary? They burned him in the cabin that they found him. The point is that police get to use this extreme force.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ex-captain from, was it Las Vegas or whatever that was killed.
Talking about the one that went, okay, that one, the riots.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Christopher Dorn, who actually was a cop that blew the whistle on other cops and ended up getting killed. And that's the problem, is we know Kathy Swilley and other polilice officers who were within the department and who decided to leave because when they tried to bring some corruption out, they had issues start happening and other people. I'm sure you have your own side of the story. I'm sure.
I do. I know her and worked with her in the past.
But she's not alone. I mean, maybe you take issues with her story, but we could pull up, dozens of stories where cops get caught planting drugs on people. Cops get, even here in Harris County, they literally pulled a woman on the side of the road and gave her a cavity search. And those officers weren't charged. The point is, there's so many examples of that. It doesn't matter. It's an officer of the law that gets away with something. And so I'm glad you have a story. What I'm trying to say is you have a nice story about why you joined, but at the end of the day, you're upholding a system that is part of all this. I mean, so there's got to be a way to take your nice guy out of that and stand with us.
As vice president of this organization, I am on help with the Citizens Review Board. Okay, we have what we call the Administrative Discipline Committee. Civilians and officers work together and we determine discipline. I have voted to fire people because I'm not going to let them tarnish my badge.
Are you in favor of that board being beefed up
like with subpoena power? If independent review board is subpoena power.
They want subpoena power because they know it does nothing for them. Right now, they look at the case. They look at the entire case, though. The entire investigation, from front to back, every officer's statement, everything, videos, the works. They can go back and ask for more clarification on anything they want.
I'm just basically asking if you're in favor of the new budget.
So that's actually better.
You're in favor of the new budget proposal to take some funds away from the police. And
efforts to defund parts of the police program.
I'll be honest with you, no, and I'll tell you why. Because we are 1,500 to 2,000 short. I mean, think about it. You go to Chicago, they got 12,000 law enforcement officers.
Well, Chicago is a war zone.
But also look at their geographical location is very small.
Chicago's the worst city in the world,
right? We are 677 square miles with the small number of officers.
We do have a larger, yes.
I mean, we have a big.
We have a much lower crime. We do.
It depends on what area.
So you don't support any efforts to defund any of the police programs in support of community programs?
Now, they're more than, I'm good with community programs. Because, look, I'm going to tell you right now, our children, if we don't get them when they're young, if we don't get them on the right track when they're young, we're going to lose them to the system. That's a problem for me.
Yeah, but the system is also, again, this is the system that you just as an officer of the law, support arrest people for nonviolent, victimless crimes like cannabis and other things. Maybe not at the current moment, you know. And the point is, the prisons are filled. You might not, but you're a cop, and it's your job to enforce the law. You might not, and so people are locked up in prison. You say, well, they're going to become part of the system, but you guys are the ones helping enforce that system. That's all I'm saying is you have to think about that. You're helping enforce that.
I don't get to make the laws. Okay, y'all vote for the people to make the laws.
That doesn't make a difference.
It does.
But
if you want a law change, you need to get it changed.
You are the officer of a union that does represent the people that do enforce the laws, and that's why we're here talking to you.
Right. And that's why you got to understand. We don't get to pick and choose what laws we follow and what laws we
But you have a moral compass. You should follow what's right and ignore the bullshit, because what is legal, like it used to be legal to take slaves, and to do, the police were slave catchers. I mean, you know that?
And we do. We do. Like we have been to the legislature several times over many of these things that we feel we shouldn't be enforcing.
Well, give me an example. Give me like one good example.
I'll tell you right now. Marijuana, for me, I don't give a damn. I don't.
So I've
never had to fight anybody smoking marijuana.
Full legalization.
Throw some chips in the back. Throw some Funyuns in the back of the car, mate.
So you're saying you're in favor of full legalization of cannabis?
Well, within reason. And I'll tell you why.
What do you mean by
because
well, I'm not
there is a black market that kills more people every
why
year.
We're here, man. Police violence, like that's why we're here.
Oh yeah, well,
that's why we're here to talk to you about. So, I mean, do you get why people are marching? That black people are being killed in the street, brown people are being killed in the street.
I do. Well,
what do you think is the best avenue to go?
First of all, well, let me just.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, what's that?
What do you think is the best avenue?
What do you think is the best avenue?
Communication. That's where it's at.
What about officer training?
That's why I'm out here.
What de-escalation training? Is it more focused on de-escalation in this department?
We do have a big de-escalation training program. In fact, with our new facility that we have out there, we have a big training center that was just built. We haven't got to use it because COVID hit at the same time that we were about to open it up. So we have not had the ability to go out there and train yet. But that is one of the things we've done. In fact,
so is that for continuing education or within the police academy?
It's within the police. Well, they do it at the academy. Plus,
and it's also for
continuing education.
Okay.
I actually sat on a panel, PERF, in Washington, D.C. on de-escalation training. And the department sent me. The department sent me as a representative of the organization because they wanted. I've been doing this a long time. I know what it takes. A lot of times, I can bullshit people into the back seat. I don't have to fight. I'd much rather do that. And obviously, I can talk. I come out here and talk to you guys. Right. I don't have a problem talking to people. I will talk to a guy for an hour, talk him into my back seat. That's what I need.
Excuse the impression. A lot of cops.
You gotta understand.
Much more meatheaded.
Hey, we're people. We are cut out from the fabric of this country, just like you guys are. So you're always going to have different attitudes. You're going to have different backgrounds, they just believe differently. I mean, it's all in how you're raised. It was. My dad taught me, you respect everybody until they disrespect you. And I do that. I try to do that. I've always tried to respect everybody that I've dealt with because I want to be treated that way. I want my mom and dad to be treated that way. And I think, by and large, as a group of police officers, we do that. We have 800,000 law enforcement officers in this country. Actually, probably more than that. It's probably closer to 900. But at the end of the day, you look at the viral videos that go out. That's one in. And I'll give you an example. In Houston alone, we had over 2 million contacts last year. 2 million contacts with citizens. How many citizen complaints do we have? Does any of y'all know that?
Look, the problem is even one is too much. One is too much. One is too much, man. One is too much. That's
not everybody.
But it's perception.
And yeah, a lot of people don't even report. They don't video. What about incidents that don't get filmed? They don't get reported. I mean, it's not like those are the only things happening.
Finish for a second.
Just saying.
If I've got something where you believe I've wronged you, and you go and complain, and it's on body camera, that's just not the way it happened. What do? It's your perception that you were wrong, right? We can all agree to that? It's your perception. Hey, he stopped me. He was rude to me. He treated me bad. We had a guy come in, wanted to complain on an officer. He said, those officers searched my car when I told them not to. Those officers refused to call a supervisor out, and I want to complain. They treated me wrong. You watch the video? Hey, sir, do you mind if we search your car? No, go ahead. He didn't remember doing it. His perception was he was being treated wrong. They were rude to him. Then they said, hey, would you like a supervisor to come out when he got upset with them? the supervisor come out there. He didn't remember it.
Look, we're
He
not
was
saying,
Doug,
we're not
man,
saying
you're
there's
starting to get into
nothing
store,
out there
man.
that's gonna
No,
complain
yeah, like-
about your
No, I
customer
get it.
service.
We're
But
talking
that's
about
just it.
cops killing people, raping people. You know,
but look
like
at the-
that thing. Like,
But look at, okay, prime example, have y'all, any of y'all researched that study that come out of Harvard University? A very liberal organization, just came out last year.
Go on.
And it talked about officer-involved shootings across this nation. There were 900 and some of them. Out of that, less than 40% were African Americans, 49% were white, and it went downhill from there. I think it was even less than that, are African Americans. The narrative is just wrong.
900 shootings and
we don't care if you guys are gonna kill
900
people. It doesn't
killings.
fucking matter. I mean, there's Native Americans that get killed.
Okay,
all
but
kinds
how
of
many of those people
man.
were armed? How many of them were suicide by cop? You got to start filtering that out.
Why
And
is
look at,
suicide
I
by
mean-
cop really such an option?
I don't understand.
Yeah, why do people know that they can call the cops and
how is
essentially
it
get
possible
killed?
Let me ask you a
to
question.
Go and agitate you to the point of you killing me.
If you walk out right now and pulled a gun on me and stuck it toward me, what am I supposed to do?
I see
Try
cops.
to go, oh sir, can you please put that up? Hell no, I'm going home at night.
We see
I'm gonna do
cops.
what I gotta
We
do.
see
I
cops
got
in
a family
Australia
too.
and other places that use de-escalation tactics, where there's, they
We
got
do
somebody
too,
with a
but
knife
we
and a
can't do that
gun,
with a gun.
and
You can't
they find a
de-escalate.
way, man. I'm
That's
just
not the only
saying.
time that happens, though.
Yeah, I mean, you're picking the
Like, literally,
extremes.
Show me.
a cop pulled a gun up to an unarmed 15-year-old.